So still life, taking photos or drawing or painting. Video was never my source of desire to express myself. So my answer would be no. I never actually had a desire to be on the on the side of the camera where I create video or.
Melting Pot, a global podcast series hosted by Pyle, connects guests who have inspiring stories and reaches out to a multicultural audience over 52 countries. Guests are diverse, such as celebrities, entrepreneurs, travelers, and many more who've had a turning point in their lives and moved over to a holistic lifestyle. Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, social media.
Hi, everyone. Today I am in conversation with two lovely people, and we've been trying to have this conversation for I think a few months now, and because they're all over the place, so it was hard to pin both of them down, but I finally managed to do that. So I have a very smiley Vessela Banzourkova talking to me today, and also Stefan. I hope I got both the last names correct and I was able to pronounce them close enough. But
you pronounced them just perfect.
Okay, just a very, very quick introduction. Both Bessie and Stefan are professional photographers, but they're also in the movie business. And for those who are watching the episode, there is a very interesting background behind Bessie because she's on a film set at the moment. So we'll hear all about that from her during the course of the conversation. But I would really, really like to thank both of you for finding the time through your busy schedule to have this chat with me.
Thank you for inviting us.
Okay, so where do we begin? I think it would be interesting to get a little background to both of you, Vessi and Stefan. So maybe we can start with Vessi.
Yeah.
So I was born in Sofia, Bulgaria. Grew up in a family of an actor and economist.
Ooh, interesting.
I studied fashion design. I worked as a key animator in animation, but I ended up as filmmaker and photographer.
Okay. And
yes.
How did you end up becoming a filmmaker and a photographer?
Photography was mostly a hobby and is mostly a hobby for when we travel and sometimes doing portrait photography, which is an interest of mine. So, gradually life led me to that. And filmmaking is my profession and what I do for a living. I'm a line producer.
Okay.
Making different movies.
Okay, what about you, Stefan? A little birdie told me that you have a background as a captain, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's correct.
go ahead.
I was born in Varna. Yeah, I was born in Varna. My mid school is photographer school. I studied 5 years photography. And after that, I went to Naval Academy for another 5 years. Then I was sailing for 11 years, become a master mariner. Then I quit. Then I start as a teacher, ship's inspector, and then I become in the movie industry like 6-7 years ago. So generally that's it.
Okay, but that's interesting. From I mean, what kind of caused this, or what prompted this transition from being in the shipping industry to actually becoming becoming part of the film industry?
First, that was that at some point I wanted some changes, so that's why I quit sailing and start looking for something. And the other reason was Vessi. I met her after that, and
Okay.
at some point they were looking for people, and I become part of the movie industry.
Okay, interesting. So can you take us through, a little bit more in detail about exactly what you do in the movie business? I know, Vessi, you mentioned that you're a line producer, but in addition to that, that is one part of it, and then what else is involved with you within the industry?
Me personally, I started as a location manager, which mainly is to, reading the script, finding the locations which you are thinking that they are working for the director, presenting them, and after that, all the logistic connected to this location which being chosen. So the job is, mainly traveling, looking, photographing, presenting the things, and then a lot of management after that. And the last few years, I become production manager, which is just more managing the things. But it's very interesting for me, both location manager and production manager. And this type of logistic, connecting the things, making happen, it's very interesting, including with photo shooting and traveling. So it's nice. I really enjoy the thing.
So
Yeah.
as a location manager and a production manager, you scout for locations only within Bulgaria or other parts of Europe as well?
Usually, location manager can scout only within the country, but the last few years we've been in Greece. Just the production expanded there. So once I became production manager, I'm at the same time location supervisor, which means that when you have local location managers, you can send them scouting and you can organize them. So yeah, the answer is mainly yes in your country, but at the same time, we cover Greece in the last few years.
Okay. What about you, Vessi?
So my job in the film is I read the script, I make a budget, how much money we need in order to accomplish and film this entire script. I hire crew, and then I have to supervise, so we stay within the budget. We make our days, shooting days. The crew is doing their job as they're supposed to. So also management stuff, but mostly with the budget and hiring crew.
So how do you get approached? I'm assuming you have your own company, right? Both of you, or do you work as freelance? And how do you? So you obviously have international films that, because your country is so beautiful, and I know in Indian cinema there is a lot of times that you see Sophia or some other places in your country as locations. So is it like, what is the process? That's the first part of the question. And the second part of the question is how do you go about actually procuring the film and working on the location and the production and all of that? So what's the process?
We're mostly freelancers. We do have our own companies, but we are mostly freelancers. So a line producer could be hired, and of course, location manager, production manager. Most of the crew, which on my average movies are around 300 people, 200, 300 people crew. They're all freelancers. So we gather all together for one movie and then we say bye and wait for the next one.
And then you move on.
The process is there are producers who buy the script, finance the script, cast, find the director, choose the cast, and then my work begins to break down the script into budget lines, how much we need for this, how much we need for that, and it's a very dynamic document, the budget, because you start with one thing thinking this is how it's gonna go, but then something comes up, and so the idea is to be very flexible and to find, once the director comes on board, he starts asking for things that he would like to have.
Yeah, but may not fit in your budget, and they may not fit.
So yes, I'm finding money from one line to another, just to be able to accomplish the movie. And we start bringing people on board, hiring different technical crews, different art crews, and so on and so forth.
Okay. Okay, so now any couple of films that really stood out for you?
For difficulty-wise, it was the movie is called The Enforcer. It was pretty not too long ago, 2 years ago. The movie came out, few months ago? That was the Antonio Banderas movie. So the movie was supposed to be shot in Greece. That's the first time we went to Greece to shoot a movie. Greece in Thessaloniki. There is no industry there movie. There is no crew that you can find. No professional people. And we had 5 weeks of prep. Only 5 weeks of prep. So we had to make a company there, register a company there in order, for all the payroll stuff to go through, all the legal stuff to, be set in place. And of course, the rest, finding crew, local crew, which we didn't find, but we found amazing and fantastic young people, literally pulled them from the streets with a desire to work with us, and they did fantastic jobs. And now 2 years later, we still have some of the Greeks even following us to Bulgaria and, shooting movies here. But this movie was a great challenge to prepare and to shoot in a completely new place with completely in a country that knew nothing about filmmaking.
Interesting.
But we did it.
So Bulgaria is obviously, has positioned itself as a country welcoming filmmakers to come and use the different locations for film shoots, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And how long has that been a thing for Bulgaria? How many?
For the international, as we say, Hollywood movies, it's been more than 25 years now. Maybe more than 25 years, yeah.
And any other international, movies from outside of Hollywood that actually use Bulgaria for their shoots and the setup?
Yeah, Bessie had a movie with from India, the Bollywood. She had a movie. I don't know, is it only one or more than one?
More than one, but
do you remember which one?
It's called Shivai with Ajay Devgan.
Okay.
I also had one movie with Indian, which just now recently they have to finish. I had a company from Japan once, but I think they've been here not once, but I was involved in one of the projects.
But also a lot of European, UK, Europe.
French, Spanish.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Wow, that's So it's, yeah, because I'm aware that Bulgaria is known for its locations, and, you know, a lot of films do get shot there. So typically, you know, how long would the whole scheduling, like,
Process.
yeah, do you have a typical scheduling format that, okay, in 1 week, or it depends on the size of the project?
Depends on the size and the production, but let's say our average productions would go for 8 weeks of prep and 8 to 9 weeks of shoot, and pre-prep it could be even a year, like from getting the script, the rewrite, securing the rights, you know, all that stuff could be more than a year sometimes. Yeah, depends, but yeah, the average is, let's say, 2 months of prep and 2-3 months of shoot.
Okay, and then of course the film goes into other
Post-production,
yeah.
and then after we finish shooting, post-production is around a year.
Yeah, and the post-production happens in Bulgaria itself generally with the films that you work with, or the post-production is done if it's a Hollywood, or if it's Indian film or European back in the country?
Depends on the director. Sometimes he already has like an editor and a post-production facility that can be anywhere in Australia, in the US, in Canada. Depends.
Okay, but does Bulgaria also have facilities?
Yes, we also have facilities in Bulgaria.
Okay. Okay, great. So this was so much fun talking to both of you. And
yeah.
and
Same here.
thank you. So before we kind of wrap up the conversation, anything, you know, that you would like to share with the young people who would like to, whichever part of the world they may be in, who would like to do what you do for a living? Is there any advice or anything that you would like to share? Because you've got a lot of experience in what you do.
Yes, I would advise the young people, don't be in a hurry. Start small and you will grow into what you want to become. Don't try to start big, because that almost never happens.
Yeah.
But don't despise the small beginnings. They will lead you anywhere.
Yeah, that's true. It's slow steps, right? And
yes.
Yeah, and then just gather experience, and, you know,
exactly.
I'm assuming, like, given not so much you, Bessie, but with Stefan, from, you know, a completely different industry to doing what you're doing now, I think that is also something that if people are passionate about wanting to get into the film business, but the back end of the film business, then it's hard work, but don't hesitate. And if you don't try, you'll never know, correct?
Yeah. You have to try if you're willing to. Yeah, it's very interesting. It's not easy, but if you work with, with your heart, if I said so, yeah, it's nice. It's going to happen.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this conversation, and I can see, Vessi, behind you, that the clouds are getting thicker and thicker. You're absolutely amazing. But I hope it's not going to be a rained out day of shooting.
We hope both, yeah.
Thank you, Payal. I enjoyed it so much.
Thank you.
For more weekly conversations, do listen to Melting Pot on Spotify, Apple and Google Podcasts. Follow us on YouTube and on Instagram at Podcast Melting Pot. So until the next episode, this is Payal signing off.